What I have here is the word design. This is just created with the type tool. I have this in a layer. In this case, it's just the templates layer. I'm gonna actually click on this object and so that I can trace over it and actually see what I'm looking at from within the options bar, reduce the opacity quite a bit, and then I'm going to lock that layer so that I can no longer click on it and accidentally move it or something, and then reducing the opacity has made it a much fainter, light gray color instead of black, which might be hard to trace over. Then, in a totally separate layer, I'll start to trace over it. And I previously changed the color assigned to this layer to magenta so we could really see it. And then, in this series of letters, the most complex one is definitely this letter G. There's a lot of curves that abruptly change direction and, certain things that might be a little tricky to do. So I'm going to do this one live here on this video to sort of show the process for how to trace something that's a little bit more complex like this. So pulling a control handle out there, clicking and dragging there. Now I do have my fill on, so I'm going to turn that off. Alt option there to drag to break the control handle direction. Now I'm going to see if I can go all the way to here instead of putting an anchor point midway around, and it might not quite work to go quite that far, so I might want to put one here. And it's possible that maybe I could have gone that all the way to here and made it work, but just to make sure that it's looking good, I'll put one part way down. So then I'm doing Alt Option again to break the control handle there, move that over to this direction. Now I'm sure that I can go here, and I might need to finesse some things. So I'm going to zoom in. I'm holding down Control or Command here to move around, to toggle to the direct selection tool and sort of make some refinements on the fly, just as I go. And then, it doesn't have to be perfect, but I can dynamically refine as I go. Now here, I'm just clicking over top of that anchor point, pulling out a new control handle, and it's going to start the curve going off in this direction because I have it angled off in this direction, and then it's going to wrap around and go down to wherever I put my anchor point. So, obviously right here would be a potential spot where the curve begins to change direction. I might be able to go here where the curve is changing the direction again. I'm going to try to go as far as I can and see. And yeah, that looks pretty good. I could potentially, maybe need one right there, but it looks like it's working just fine. I'm going to hold Control Command to shorten this control handle a little bit so that when I draw my next line, it doesn't get stretched too far out. And this one, I'm thinking, I could go here. I could probably go here. I'm going to try, as always, to go as far as I can. And yeah, that's not going to work to do that. So I'm going to do Control or Command Z, and then we'll put one right there where clearly it's going to work just fine. And then I'll probably do one up to here where it appears to sort of flatten off. And we'll go all the way to the edge of the curve there. And then line this up nicely. There might be a little bit of a curve there. So I'm going to see if I go to here and really give that, it's a bit off maybe. So I might need to I might want to get rid of this or at least shorten it, do an anchor point there, then pull out a little curve and see if I can do a shorter one that's a bit more precise. Not really, so I might need to do one midway through there. And then hold Command Control, shorten this, and then do the rest of the span to there. Now here I do have, and I could do a pull there and then really shorten that control handle there and just get rid of it on one side. But I am going to need a control handle on this side that starts to curve my line out in this direction. So pulling out a control handle from there, I'm just zooming out a little bit. And, you know, I could potentially go all the way to here. The curve changes direction here, 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 pretty noticeably. I'm going to try to go as far as I can. And that looks like it's going to work great. Now, obviously, there's no way I can make this curve without holding down Command or Control, shortening this handle so that the next curve I make wraps up, goes in this direction, and then begins to wrap over this way. So then I can click there and Alt-Option to break that handle, because I need my next one to go off in this direction. And actually I probably need it to go this way so that the curve goes up and over there, instead of, if I have it down here, it's not going to curve the right way. You can see it's trying to go up and over. So I got to go this way and over to make that span. And then from there, pull it a little bit, and not bad. Now obviously from here, I would take Direct Selection tool and I'd start to go in, further refine, move anchor points around. I might need to go in with Convert Anchor Point tool and completely redraw something, you know, and then sort of back and forth between Convert Anchor Point tool and Direct Selection tool to make refinements, and then really zooming in and looking. And there's a lot of spots here where I really wasn't very close, so I would want to get in there and make it more precise, make it more accurate, and then get that practice with precision, right? And I won't do the whole thing because that would take longer than this video needs to be, but you get the idea. As few anchor points as possible, and then toggling your keys as you go and making refinements after the fact. That's the way to do it.